So namaste. And welcome to Satsang. Okay, so this evening I felt like it's a good time to just to dive into a meditation and I'm feeling kind of chilled already, kind of mellow, so might be a good time to embrace the silence even further. And so we'll just meditate for I guess around 20-30 minutes maximum, and we'll have some time for questions after and answers and sharings. So very simple, very direct, very powerful meditation. And with your eyes open or closed, whatever you feel comfiest. So we're just going to begin by noticing that there is a silent, still space that we are all our bodies are appearing in. So wherever you're joining this from, your body moves, your thoughts move, your emotions move, our experiences changing constantly. And we're just bringing attention to that kind of space around our body, if that's easier, or the space in which everything is appearing. It isn't actually moving, everything else is moving in it. It is quiet. It's not changing. And so a very simple meditation just to bring your attention back to this silent, still place, which is our essential nature. And everything else is arising out of. And it's not a meditation where we need to reject anything. So if a thought pops through into your stillness, you can just let it move through the stillness. If a nice, peaceful state arises, you can just let that be in the stillness. If a sense of restlessness or some emotion comes up, we can let that happen too. Just not rejecting anything. We're not saying the stillness is better than the thoughts, but just kind of being like the stillness, the silence, and letting what comes come. What wants to move in that space can move. Energies might move around the body. Emotions may move. Maybe states coming and going, positive, negative. And from time to time, just very gently bringing your attention back to the stillness when it wanders, as it will. There's no need to stop it wandering. Can't do that. It's okay. Just coming to recognize that there is a silent stillness in which all of this is showing up. Our bodies, our minds, the room that we're sitting in. And we're not at war with anything. We don't need to get rid of anything or hold on to anything. We're just being that space. It's just letting things come and go, isn't it? It's not holding on or rejecting or grasping. And our attention will drift away with some thought, some train of thoughts, some sensations in the body from time to time. You just gently bring it back. Just noticing that still silent space. So we're really not doing any work here. We're just noticing. And as we do this, whatever needs to move will move in the stillness. So there is no goal here to achieve. There's nothing to get out of the meditation. And we really can't do it wrong. We can just relax. Simply noticing what's here and yet isn't shouting for attention. At all times, there is the still, silent space of our being. In which our body and mind are appearing, our thoughts, our experiences are happening inside it. Just noticing this stillness. It begins to relax the body, begins to relax the mind. Begins to allow us to relax into what is. Just spending time like this. Simplest of meditations. It's helping us to see that we are this silent space. this pure intelligence from which all forms emerge. We can enjoy our mind, our body. We can let them be as they are. Just resting attention here. It's going to wander around attention to some thought, some sound in your environment, some sensation in the body. It's okay. You can just bring it back gently to the stillness. Everything that needs to happen will happen as we rest as this. Anything that needs to be seen or revealed will be seen. Anything that's ready to be released will go. No struggle. Giving yourself permission to slow down. There's nowhere to get to. You're already this. This silent, still space is coming to recognize itself. And it's using the contrast of all the movement to recognize itself. Every time that we meditate like this, we can never quite go back to striving so much. We can never quite go back to struggling as much, reaching, trying, becoming. There is something about you that is already completely still. already empty, already free. Just from time to time, bringing your attention back if it's wandered. No big deal. It wanders. There's no goal here. Just enjoying the stillness, the silence of our being. So in a few moments, we'll be bringing this meditation to a close. And as we go into question and answers and the sharing, if you want to stay in meditation, being that space in which it's all happening, then it's a beautiful thing. We don't have to rush back into our usual way of being. So whenever you're ready, if you want to, you can open your eyes. If you don't want to, that's okay. So I'm going to start as always with a question that has been emailed in. But if you have a question or a sharing online, if you want to put your hand up, if there's a question in the room, just feel free to stick your hand up. Okay, I see we have one waiting. So this question says, my question is about meditation. As a very poor sleeper over many years, I tend to rely on meditation. For the rest, I don't get much of in normal sleep. However, some non-duality teachers say that meditation shouldn't be used to attain a particular state, in my case, rest. Is it helpful in the awakening path to meditate in this switching off sort of way, or vice versa? Can meditating in some of the ways you teach, e.g. experiencing the field, help with rest as well as on the path of awakening? Is it one or the other, or can they be productively combined? Thank you, Helen. Okay, so meditation, as you said here, isn't about achieving a state, although states will happen in that meditation, probably more peaceful, more relaxing, and ultimately there is no difference eventually between sleep and meditation, although we tend to do one sitting up and the other lying down. But meditation is where I'm just allowing my body, my mind, my experience to be exactly as it is, without trying to control. And that tends to be very restful anyway. And you probably find that as your meditation goes deeper, the amount of sleep that you need isn't so much as what you used to need. Little by little, it'll drop away. Not completely, of course, the body always needs some rest, but not as much as before. Because a lot of the rest that our body needs is really to recover from the effect of the thoughts that we're believing, the stress that we've put it under, the tensions, and our body has to live through what we're believing to be true. And so for me, there is a very fine line between rest anyway and meditation. Rest is happening anyway when we're being that stillness as we just were. There's something refreshing and rejuvenating about that anyway, in that deep silence. And yes, you don't meditate to attain that, but it's totally okay from my experience and my opinion if it happens as well. You know, one of the happy side effects of meditation is peace and quietness and rest and relaxation, contentment. So absolutely, just like we're not seeking joy or love, but they're going to happen anyway as we sink deeper into the silence of our being. And we're not seeking rest and contentment and relaxation of the body, but it will happen anyway. As the body begins to unwind itself from all the effects of what we have believed to be true. So absolutely. For me, there's a very fine line between the two anyway, sleep and meditation. And we often cross that. Maybe one day we'll write a book on some of the things that have happened at meditation groups over the years. Okay, so we have 2 questions online. Any questions here in the room? Okay, not yet. So we'll go with Gaynor first. Whenever you're ready, Gaynor.
Hi, Helen. Can you hear me all right?
I can. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you. Are you all right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't got my video today.
Could you just turn it up a little bit? Thank you. Sorry, Gaynor, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share something really that's kind of showing up for me right now, and hoping that that'll kind of form into a question, really. Really. So quite a lot of kind of worry, I suppose, stress, anxiety, I guess, to some extreme, about a certain situation in my life that's to do with somebody that's quite close to me, and about their future, which is kind of a little bit uncertain in certain areas. And as kind of the situations developing, with it is the kind of worry and things that's developing kind of with it. Mm-hmm. And expectations, I guess, too, like on the situation. And I guess a part of me wants that to, a part of me thinks, it doesn't matter, that worry being there, the worry being there, it doesn't matter. A part of me still wants it to go away.
And that's okay, right? You'll have both. There's that silent space of awareness where it just doesn't matter what's going on, really. And there's also, yeah, but it'd be nice if they stopped,
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of thinking I need to do something to be more at peace with it. Should I really, or should I just, I don't, should I be questioning? Does that kind of make sense? Should I be questioning, or
well, it helps to remember that your mind can understand reality, and therefore it's going to say that you're anxious about this situation.
Yeah.
That you're worried about this situation. In reality, there is just some fear coming up, and your mind is trying to find a reason for it. So you're moving deeper into your awakening, and a pocket of fear comes up with that. And your mind is searching around for a reason, because your mind wants to know why you feel this way, and says, oh, I feel anxious about this situation, this person, this situation.
Right.
So if this situation is a reflection of that fear rather than the other way around, it may help to question that feeling. What is the feeling? Anxiety, you kind of said, a little bit of fear, worry.
Yeah, it's fear, really. Yeah, I guess fear that the situation won't unfold the way it's supposed to unfold, I guess.
If the most effective way really to look at something like this is to look at what is it supposed to unfold as, because that the expectation, as you've said, might not be the way it goes. Yeah, there might be something even better coming in that. So what do I think this should unfold as, and why? I'm not asking you to tell us all right here, but just something to look at around it. And can I question this fear as well. What is it saying to me? Sometimes there's a deep sense of not being able to control a situation. Our mind wants to, you know, when it goes this way, then it'll be fine. And I can't quite keep along my mind's projections. You know, it might go differently, and I can't control it, which is scary to the mind, isn't it?
It is, and I've been looking at that as well. So I have been looking at the ways it, you know, that mind might not want it to go, but it could go. But I guess I've never kind of looked at something better might be, you know, I haven't gone maybe that step further, that, you know, that's because something better will be coming from.
Always the highest thing that can show up in this moment has done already, always. The only reason it's ever limited is by and through our perceptions, our beliefs. So as we start to come out of those, naturally the highest thing will manifest anyway. And then in that, just allowing it to be how it is in this moment, something even better can come. It's always trying to expand manifestation, which means something better, something more, something that's going to reflect a deeper sense of peace inside. So just looking at your mind's projections and expectations, what if that's already occurring and we're just kind of getting in the way of that process or slowing it down somehow, you know, with our...
Yeah, and I guess it's being open, is it? Like, so it might not go, like you say, it might not go the way mind, wants it to, but something else.
Usually, when we're getting what we want, it never looks like the way mind will think it should be. Or how I want, what I want is this thing, and it's got to come this way, but it's going to come probably the only way you can guarantee it won't come is the way your mind expects it, you know. So, but recognizing manifestation is always moving towards more abundance, inner abundance of peace, love, and joy, and outer abundance of the things that we want. Then do we have to kind of push so hard to try to make that happen? Which is what really mind is doing, isn't it? I've got to make sure this thing happens.
Yeah, I guess I just forgot, I've lost track of that, I guess, with the closeness of the situation.
Yeah, and those are the most challenging ones, aren't they, where somebody really close to us is in a situation or something, you know.
Yeah. So so it's just kind of look at it that it's something about the reflection. Can you just, sorry.
It's okay. So just recognizing the situation is a reflection of the fear, the belief behind the fear, and not the other way around. So by being with the fear, by questioning it, and by relaxing more, recognizing that what I want is going to happen anyway, because I want it, then the situation will begin to change the experience. Our outer world is a reflection of our inner state of consciousness around that particular issue.
Yeah.
So if you're trying really hard, pushing, it's kind of going to slow down the manifestation that's trying to occur.
Yeah, I always tend to forget about that as well, because I think that's something that mind just don't like, the idea of not being able to control that.
Yeah.
You know,
when your mind gets a handle on the fact that what's going to show up anyway is way better than it could ever imagine. Oh, all right, then I'll go along with that, you know.
Yeah, just let's go.
It takes a little reminding, doesn't it? Because we've been taught all our life to push reality into what we want it to be, or to try, at least. It doesn't work ever, but we keep doing it for some reason.
No, that's really, that's really good. So thank you.
Wonderful. Good to talk to you.
You too.
Okay, Abdullah. Yep.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Yep. How are you?
Good. I'm glad to join you today. It's my first time.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have a question regarding the feelings. Sometimes when I do meditation, maybe for months I have like a congestion in my chest. And sometimes I wonder, is it better to connect with the space or just to stay with the feeling? So especially if it is something that that's been for a while. So I always wonder because
Just describe the feeling a bit more for me. What is a feeling in your chest, you said? Or
yeah, it's in my heart, in the left, beneath my arms,
okay.
and it's something like it's like a ball of energy, always moving, always moving.
Yeah.
And and it's for I keep feeling this for months. And sometimes when I go deep into this feeling, it keep moving sometimes to my throat, and they feel like a congestion or something like this.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is it better to focus in the feeling or just to connect to the space?
Well, this is a good example, actually, a good question of how our mind functions, because our mind says, which one of these is it? Which one do I do? And actually, by being the space, then we're totally allowing that feeling on how it needs to move. So there's obviously, or maybe you can sense that there's some energy kind of needing to move that kind of feels very stuck or heavy in the body. And whether you put your attention on the feeling or on the space, it doesn't matter really, but the faster way to resolve it is to bring your attention back to the space as much as you can and just let that feeling move. The energy can move then, because when we're focusing on the empty space of being, we're not trying to change anything about our experience, even things that we don't like this feeling. And it can tend to dissipate faster then, or it might show some belief to you. It might reveal something that you need to see in that. So just bringing attention back, letting that feeling be there, but bringing attention back to the space. You're actually doing both at the same time, not one or the other. And that mind says, well, how can you do both? But just letting the feeling be, letting it be as it is. Mind wants to do something about it to get rid of it, but it's that actually trying to do something about it that's keeping it in place. So just being that empty space of being, this can move when it needs to then.
So, but sometimes I have a feeling that I should stay with this feeling. Sometimes, no, I don't have this feeling, but sometimes my intuition says to me, I should stay with this feeling.
Well, then it's a good, outside of meditation, maybe to sit with a pen and paper and ask, what does this want to show me? What does this want to reveal to me? What do I need to see about this? Or, just do some contemplative work on it. What is this feeling underneath this feeling? What's it about really? And see what comes out of that.
Okay,
probably
thank
bring
you.
you to some belief that you need to look at. Yeah.
So it is there is a deep belief, but still it's not revealed yet.
Yeah, and your body is kind of telling you, as mine did, there were tensions and aches and sometimes a very heavy feeling in certain parts of the body, very constricted. And it's like, okay, what is this about? What is it trying to tell me? And it would show some belief, usually some lack of self-love where I was judging or criticizing myself or something like that. It would come back to, or I felt unworthy, or some belief like that will reveal itself.
Yes, I also notice sometimes when I have this feeling, they wanted to share this. Maybe someone will also benefit from this. I tend to do some work, extra work. So just to ignore this feeling. Sometimes I notice myself lately when I have this feeling, I tend to do work and think about what should I do. So maybe I believe it's related to self-love and sometimes because we link this to that we need to do something.
Yeah, and you might feel an inner prompt to do some stretching or do some yoga or something like that. That will happen. That will just come if you need to help the body release it. You might, or do a brisk walk, just to get the energy flowing, something like that. That might be part of it.
It's a great idea. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any questions? Yep, Steve, so we'll come to you after Natasha. Yep, you're next. So Natasha, when you're ready.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you so much. You have, I listen to other teachers, but nothing resonates closer to me than when I listen to you. And you have really, I don't know, I just don't know how to explain that. It's just profound. I have a couple of questions. First thing is that I get a lot of energy flowing through my body sometimes, and then I get very tired and I cannot deal with it. I kind of have to like lie down, take rest, or do something, especially when things are going around with my family, or I'm feeling them. Even with my mom, who lives very far away from me, I can kind of sense things are going with her, or things around the world are happening. I kind of had this very tense feeling happening in my body, even not knowing that things are happening, but I get extreme tense feeling in my body that is not coming from me.
Yeah.
And then it passes, and then I realize, and I read something and say, oh, something was happening. So that is one thing that happens, and I feel that. And the second thing is that when I ask that I am this, like I'm here, I'm ancient. I've never ever died, or never ever, I was never born. I'm here. Like I get this feeling, and then sometimes I get this question coming out of me saying that this thought comes to me, said, that's a very lonely place to be. I don't want to be here. I want to be with everybody.
Yeah.
Why does that happen? Like that kind of prevents me from going into the vast feeling that it's being the only one in the entire universe that's me, and there is nobody but me. Makes me feel lonely sometimes.
Yeah, I remember the same feeling, and that's because our mind is kind of imagining being alone as a separate being. So if everyone else on the planet disappeared, just as a way of analogy, and I was the only one left here as a separate being, that would be extraordinarily lonely. In fact, human beings have been known to go insane from being alone for too long as a separate being, because we need that interaction and all of that. So alone as a separate being is very, very different to alone as everything and everyone. And look, just wanting to, diving into that feeling, that loneliness. For me, the question, are there any other beings actually, really just began to take me deeper past the loneliness, past my mind's idea of oneness rather, and into actual oneness. Because if I am alone as everything and everyone, then everyone I meet is going to feel like myself. So that nice feeling you get when you meet a really close friend and you catch up and you have a laugh and a giggle, and or you meet family, and not always the family, because sometimes they can be interesting challenges, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. What if you felt like that when you met everyone? And that is very different to being loneliness says there's nobody else here. I'm on my own here. There's nobody else. And technically that's true, but it hasn't been allowed to go deep enough into the heart. Can I actually be lonely? Is there anyone to miss? And there'll be a kind of a defense mechanism here, right? Mine says, don't look at this. Do not go here. don't dive deeper into it. But when I looked into this, that loneliness began to really disappear, because you feel the same all the time then, whether your body is sitting in a room on its own or sitting with a lot of beings in a busy airport or in deep meditation. It's the same. There's a feeling of being alone because you're the only one and you're appearing everywhere. So suggest just kind of diving into that loneliness feeling. As much as we would want to, it's worthwhile investigating it. And what is this actually about? And there might be a slight sense that you're going to miss something, you're going to lose out on something by going deeper into your awakening.
Yeah. Thank you.
The moment you kind of investigate these feelings, they tend to disappear, because it's just our mind's understanding of oneness, which is very different to the actual experience of it.
Experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also I've noticed recently that things are kind of falling apart around me. Like everybody around me, they're having some kind of issues, and it has like amplified. Things have kind of amplified. Things are kind of falling apart. Nobody who are like everybody is having some issue around me. My kids, my husband, my father died, and then my aunt died. She was a like support for me. She, when I was growing up, I was really very close to me. And then some issue has come up with my mom. Some issue has come up with the person who is kind of taking care of her very far away from me. He came up with, he has cancer, and things are happening. I like every support system or everyone I kind of know around me, especially, and I have no friends, like just completely gone. Like things are falling apart. I know, I mean, I'm at peace too. I mean, I constantly listen to you and follow your guidances and everything.
How do you
it's
feel
happening.
about how do you feel about all of this that's going on? What's the emotion that comes up? This kind of outer world is falling apart
It's
in a way.
just falling apart. I don't know why. I mean,
What's the emotion
I'm thinking,
that
is
comes
this
up?
awakening? Like awake, and I cannot tell myself, because I've listened to you telling that things does get better, but then I think if things like that, like it's kind of shaky. Like I have no one kind of to depend on, but to fall back to
You see,
the
this is the loneliness actually manifesting. If I wake up more, I'm going to be alone, says mind. And this is literally what's happening in your experience. So as you question this loneliness, the people that you've depended upon, the people that support you, they're going through whatever they're going through. And as you question this loneliness, you're actually going to begin to draw people to you that are of a different energy anyway, that are there to support you and all of that.
oh,
You're actually living the experience of the belief of this loneliness. For me, there was a deep sense inside when I looked that if I wake up and have real peace inside, I can't have the outer life that I want to, that it's got to be one or the other. It's awakening or a good circle of friends and a good family structure. And there was this either or thing that was going on until I questioned it and looked at it. A sense that I was going to lose something by waking up. My mind was no, you can't really go any further. You're going to lose something. It was literally showing up as parts of my life falling apart, as you're describing, until I saw it and looked at it. Our outer experience will come to match our inner experience as a reflection of it, like a mirror image. The more peaceful I am, the more loving I become, because my mind and body, because I'm expressing this truth more. My outer experiences are not really outer, they're going to reflect that. So I'll have experiences that agree with how I'm already feeling, rather than contradict it. Why can't you, and everyone, not just you, but why can't you have it all? Why can't you have peace, love, and joy, and every experience as a human being that you want to have? you know, good social life, friends that respect you, a family that gets on with each other, nice romantic relationship, whatever it is that you want, a good career. Why does it have to fall apart? Can you see there's some idea in there?
Yeah, I think also, I mean, just you hit the nail on the head there. I think also there is some kind of belief that being spiritual or being on awakening or being an awakened being or enlightenment means you lose everything. Is that, could that be also like
I
a,
had to pick apart this one because all the examples we tend to have as of awakened beings are teachers. We don't see the ordinary, everyday people that woke up and just go about their job and their life. We remember the teachers that lived in a cave or a forest or an ashram, and
yes,
we that's the image we come to associate awakening with, isolating ourselves from the rest of society, and it's really not that, is it? And without getting on a rant here, I really believe that we're here to change that paradigm, that you know, we can have the best human existence knowing what we actually are. We can have all the fun that we wanted to have. Just questioning that idea. Why should it fall apart? Really, why should it mean less of what we want? You know, can you see that sense there inside?
mhm.
I have to sacrifice something to wake up. I can't really have it all. You know, it's awakening or a nice life. Why can't it be both?
Another thing, I hope I'm not taking up too much of time. Another
really,
thing,
really quickly, if you can ask really quickly.
yeah, it's okay. I'll ask him next time. I will send you an email. Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you for
Really
being there.
good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Steve, yeah. Hello.
Right, anxious today with this,
Anxious.
with this question. Like it's going to be a question. Will be a question there somewhere. The last time we spoke, it's a few weeks since now, but yes, something about my depression stuff and there's nothing I can do about it. And he said, "Is it true? There's nothing you can do about it." So something like that. And I've carried on doing that over the last few weeks. I've only put the two together at the moment, sitting meditating this afternoon. I realised I've been drawn to this that what they call it, new Advaita. The new Advaita, the more, because I used to listen to them and it's irritated me. You know, I went in. I thought, it's a bliss, these guys, because if you listen to them, you can tell it's bang on. It's right what they're saying. You know they're coming from the authentic place when they're saying it, and they're what I've heard you say it, but not as often. You know that they just stay with the same thing. It's there's no you, never has been a you. There's no separate person. That's it. But it's so conflicting what I'm trying to do here. You know, like, this is what I'm trying to. Probably the questions here somewhere.
That's okay. You're doing well.
Because at the end of the day, so when it's seen through, you've said the same thing. When it's seen through, you see it's all been a story.
Yeah.
It's all forgot about what was that about. You know what I mean? It's you see what happening all the
You
time.
remember it's like a really bad dream. I can't really remember the details of it, just glad you're out of it, you know.
So well,
It was pretty nasty, but
yeah. But the conflict is when I'm doing self-inquiry, or when I'm asking, quite like you've been talking and ask a question.
Yeah.
If I'm not here, who's asking the question?
The self.
It feels like me. Like, you know what I mean? It feels
Self
like
is you. Self is
total
you.
star. You time me.
Come on, it's been ages since we had a good argument.
God, here we go. This is
That's the message in a nutshell, isn't it? It's always been me. It's always been me. When I say me, it might feel like just me here. This
separate.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
But It has always been the self. It's a bit strange to say, well, the self needs to do self-inquiry. That's a little bit the self,
yeah.
but it is that, isn't it? The self is investigating into its own nature, but it feels like me here doing it.
Yeah. It's a question I can't formulate it.
What would it feel like when the self is doing it? Would it necessarily have to
No
do any
idea.
different?
It just be seen different. That's all. It's just seen differently, isn't it, apparently. But,
What if the only difference is the ease with which, you know, I could do self-inquiry, for example, or meditation as a separate being, and I'm trying to get somewhere with it. I'm trying to get an end result out of it.
well, that is what
Yeah.
must be honest. That's what I'm doing it for. That's hopefully see what's happening. And
Okay. And at the same time, the self is looking at itself in a mirror, self-inquiry, and going, oh, that's what I am. And there might be both of those happening. I feel like, I mean, if we're all honest, if enlightenment didn't bring us peace, love, and joy, what would be
We wouldn't be
sitting?
here,
We
would
wouldn't be here.
No.
If it brought us misery and fear and moral unworthiness, it'd be like, stuff that, I'm out of here. Yeah.
It's brought me a bit of that. I'm still here. Right, little soldier.
So we're all trying to get something out of it, is really what I'm saying, you know.
Well, that's it. Who's this? Let's try to get something out of it. That's the difference, isn't it? If it's a difference at all, it's fortifying that to me.
It's okay to be the self and want a better experience as your human beingness too, isn't it? So you can be the self, the awareness, and totally recognize that and still prefer that your mind feels better, that your body feels better, that your life is better. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe the self recognizing itself clearer is also the same thing as I would like to feel better here, either mentally, emotionally, physically, all of the above. Can you see this idea that it's either or?
Yeah, but I'm trying to see that. It's just a conflict of the way they talk.
Yeah.
You have much time for any of this stuff. All it's just waste of time as far as they're concerned. And that's the conflict. Oh, it's not. But I can't deny. You can tell. I know you're awake. I can tell. You just know it's.
And it's the same thing. If somebody sat there saying there is no separate being, there never was.
There has been, no.
It's a total
Just
work
energy.
of fiction. Then who's sitting here right now is the self. The self-inquiry.
Yeah.
Right?
But I'm still thinking I'm separate, aren't I? Somehow, I think
It will always seem that you're separate. There'll be a sense of separation. Like for me now, it seems like you and I are sat here having a conversation, two of us. It seems like that. But I know it's not true. I can't believe it. But that sense doesn't go away. It doesn't go away in that. And that's quite the fun of it, right? We can sit here and have this conversation that I would never have with myself. It goes somewhere between the two of us that neither of us would achieve on our own, so to speak. This is where we get,
Go on.
trying to describe oneness in two-ness, the duality of language. Yeah. But you know what I mean.
It could be ongoing. Might be it again next week. We'll see. Thank you for trying.
Just looking at, if it's always been the self, then the sense of being someone separate doesn't have to disappear. In fact, it becomes beautiful in its uniqueness, its individuality. What you want is what you want. And it's not the same as the next body, mind, vehicle next to you. They want something different, and that's okay. And once the self begins to recognize its essential nature, it's going to want the best of everything, the best experience it can have, to be the happiest, to be the most peaceful, to be the most abundant, to have your cake and eat it.
I thought the wanting had stopped. The needing this. Or
The wanting, we only struggle with this if we try to think either or. So Do you have desires? Yes and no. No, as the formless reality, there's nothing to desire, there's nobody to want it, there's nothing to get. You know that drill. But that formless reality is appearing as you, as a human being. And as a human being, it has desires. So that can be honored, right?
Mhm.
Like right now, there's a desire to really get this, and a desire to take another breath, and desire to eat when you're hungry and sleep when you're tired, and all of that stuff. The manifestation runs on desire.
Labour of it now, but who wants to get? I don't know.
Does it really matter?
It seems to do with this at the moment.
Okay,
it's
that's
been
fine if it
conflict-
does.
confidence in the moment. Yeah.
Sometimes when I say that, you go, no, it's fine, and you drop it. So I just thought I'd take.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Just embracing the paradox. You're the infinite, unlimited being that doesn't want anything, because there's nothing outside of you to want. And you're also showing up as this human being that wants to feel better emotionally. Which one of those is most real? I can't tell you, because I don't think they're any different. And shouldn't a real oneness embrace both of those? Really, 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 you know. Like sometimes I'll feel like a mother really having to deal with some issue with a child. Sometimes I'll just be so blissed out, I can't even imagine there's an outside world. And both of those are equally valid for me, because they are the same one showing up two different ways. Formless form, same thing. That means eventually a full and rich embracing of everything it means to be you, Steve. Steve is a synonym for the self.
Yeah, but that's it. I'm trying to get a grip of that. I'm trying to get a grip of that. As I said, I'm trying to get a grip of this. And that's what I'm saying by the separate.
Sometimes you'll feel more like Steve. Sometimes you'll feel more like the self.
Yeah, that does happen.
Do you have to get it all to one? Do you have to kind of get that meter over to, okay, all the time I feel formless? Is
Yeah,
that the
I
goal
like-
of
I
all
like
of it?
that. I would like that, yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
How about you just relax a bit about where you are with that? Is it moving over this formless meter, you know, from totally separate to totally one? And part of that process will be to resolve what needs resolving inside your human beingness.
Okay. Listen to it again.
So we have time for one more. Nikki. Yep. Lovely. Did you have one as well? Ian? Was that a hand up? No. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Nikki.
Hi, Helen. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Hi. Oh wow, this feels amazing. I don't know what to say now.
Okay.
I live in New Zealand and I've been following you now for about 3 months. I stumbled upon you, and I have to say, my life has really shifted.
Good. Good.
And I really just wanted to say thank you to Steve, actually, because I have found his openness and just honesty really helpful for me, because he's asked all the questions that I have needed. But I think the main one for me is I find when I'm with you, you know, like I listen to you a lot, I really go into the light, like I'm gone. I feel so connected to the light and oneness, and I don't know, something in me gets it. But then when I'm out in the world at work and stuff, I find it really hard to stay in it. Like like all the old human stuff just gets triggered.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm aware of it, and I since I've met you, I'm a lot less reactive. I'm definitely remembering in the middle of it that I'm that this is separation happening, but then I forget everything that you've said. Oh, and I'm
That's
like, okay,
totally
I'm
normal.
in
Totally normal.
separation here.
Well, what I want you to look
But-
at here is, why is this stuff coming up when you leave your meditation? Why is this stuff coming up? So you go out, you know, you're in peace and all of that, and then you go outside, you start interacting with people, and suddenly we're experiencing something different. And maybe that is happening because you are going so much deeper in your meditation that these things are coming up to be released now. So what we normally do is we say, I must have screwed something up because I've lost my peace now, you know. So
I do. I feel angry with myself at times for I go back and I think, oh my God, I could have really just sent love to her. I don't mean I say anything mean to them. I just feel the feelings inside because I'm not a mean person. But sometimes people say things to me and it's like, just go away. And then it's like, oh, I missed that opportunity. Afterwards, it's like, oh, I missed that opportunity to I guess that's what I'm wanting, is I'm wanting to be in the middle of it, but sending them love. I wish I could just be like awake in it. Yeah.
Maybe first of all, the awakening is, I love myself even though I'm still judging others and myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the stereotypical image of an awakened being is they don't judge anymore and all of that. And that's true.
Yeah.
But there's an intermediate stage where I love myself anyway, as I am right now, no matter what my mind is saying, right? No matter
Because
what my experience is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that deepens into, you know, I won't judge myself for judging. And then it begins to deepen into, you lose the ability to judge yourself or anyone in that.
Yeah.
But there is this important middle stage where right now, if I am the self, then I am the self. And I don't need to, whatever's happening in my life and my mind and my experience, I don't need to say that I'm not where I want to be or who I want to be, what I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. In other words, I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah. And this stuff is coming up now because you can heal this now as the self. You cannot heal this stuff as a separate being. We try to over and over and it keeps coming back, doesn't it? But now it's coming up because it wants the light. It wants your light in that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's asking for help, in other words.
And
so
if we
those
judge
people
ourselves,
are helping me.
Yeah. And if we judge ourselves, then we're missing the opportunity. You can't help what your mind does. It's going to judge.
Yeah.
And when you love yourself anyway, then the mind's voice will just become quieter. Instead of right in your face, it's going to be standing in the corner of a big room and you're miles away from it.
Yeah, I really get that. Thank you.
The intermediary stage, we tend to want to skip over, where I love myself anyway. I won't use this as a reason to judging myself. My mind is nuts, isn't it? It's a little crazy. It says what it says.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's hard to, like decipher whether it's my mind or. But I'm hearing more and more you say that if it's the self, then it's silence.
Silence can also show up as more loving thoughts though as well, can't it? It's okay where I am. I'm doing the best I can. I don't have to judge myself so harshly. I'm always trying my hardest here. I can give myself a break. That's what the self would say to you, wouldn't it, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then there's such a softening inside. You're not at war with yourself anymore inside. And then the mind begins to go back into silence anyway. Can you be your own best friend here, your own biggest fan. Can you acknowledge just how amazing you're doing? And this goes for everyone. Everyone.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's making me cry.
It's the hardest thing to do. It's the last thing we want to do, because we might not be experiencing the same peace, love, and joy as an awakened being seems to have, but we're never going to get to that if we keep being at war with ourselves inside.
Yeah, yeah.
What would the
Yeah.
self say about you? What would that light say about you? That's something
Yeah.
we can kind of shift over to, isn't it? How do I want to
Yeah.
talk to myself internally?
Yeah.
What would love
Oh, a
say
lot
here?
better than I do. A lot better than I do.
And
But
I'm
I
looking
forgive
forward to that
myself for that.
manifesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you.
was
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you for bringing that
Love
forward.
you so much.
I love
Love
you
you.
too. Love you. Love you.
Bye.
Okay, so we are out of time, unfortunately. We'll have to leave it there for today. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Love you.